Good day, good day, good day. And I would like to welcome everyone to an episode of All for Success. So, I'm going to ask that everyone get yourselves together and kind of settle in. It doesn't matter if you are going to continue to move around or if you're actually going to sit down and get yourselves a cup of coffee while this chat goes on. I would like to introduce the All for Success channel and chat to folks who may be new here. Listen, this is a Sussex friendly space. However, I discuss things sometimes current event like. I might mention a couple of other things, but it comes through the eyes and from the perspective of parents of adult children. Now, to join me here, you definitely do not have to be the parent of someone who is older than 30 years old or something like that. However, it is a different type of a perspective when we are parents and we're looking at how things are operating in the world that Harry and Meghan are navigating as if we are a parent. I like to see myself in a way as a surrogate for Megan's mom. A woman who has endured bringing up a child, in her case, on her own primarily, and how she has navigated all of the things that the world throws at you. And then you try to teach your children how to live and operate in this world. They do the best that they can, and you are sitting on the sidelines watching, hoping, and praying that they are both successful in what they want to do, but also emotionally level in however they are pursuing things. So, with that being said, once again, welcome again to All for Success. And get your coffee ready if you're going to sit and drink coffee instead. Now, I had thrown in the chat already that, guys, look, I went for a walk yesterday. This should have been a very simple thing. I do it all the time. It was probably about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my time. The sun was so absolutely blistering bright. Let me tell you, the sun was beating down on me in a manner I can't recall. At least it seemed that way to me. Now, true, it was 90 degrees outside, especially at that time of day, right? So, what was I thinking? But it just seemed so intense. By the time I got back to have a seat and chill out, I could not believe how hot I felt. Of course, I was sweating. And it was just a walk. I wasn't trying to walk fast. I wasn't trying to do any pacing or anything. It was just a simple walk. So I'm saying that to tell you all this. If you're out and about and you're walking about like I do, especially if you're in the age group that I just indicated, please be careful. Drink as much water as you can find. If possible, do these exercises and walks when it's cooler, early in the morning or late in the afternoon. But man, I can tell you, it was some type of a workout, but it was nothing but a short walk. Okay. All right. So, with that being said, let's get into the fun stuff that we have going on here. All right, everyone. I know if you were paying attention to the news roll up, since I only come on generally once a week, it's amazing to me how much can happen. It is just amazing. I'm fascinated at how much can happen within 1 week's time. It's just amazing. So, in looking at the world of Harry and Meghan, and then talking about what all is going on in the rest of the world, we are all aware that we were going to be given a sneak peek at perhaps the couple because it was announced that Harry was going to be offered this award in honor of Pat Tillman. And I want you all to know this was going to be exciting. Yes? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And right before we do that, I want to remind you guys, hit that like button when you come in on the chat if you can. Let everybody know that you're here. And you can, I would love if we could do it all through the chat. But also like, subscribe, and share if you have the opportunity to share with someone else who might be interested in this type of a chat. So don't forget to hit that like button. All right. But back to also getting in your exercise. We talked about that. So just don't forget to do that. But it's amazing. But anyway, so we're waiting around because we knew Harry was going to receive this award in Pat Tillman's honor. It's from his foundation. And it was going to be a wonderful ceremony. Now, I've got a question also, or a thought. Here's a thought that I had. And you all tell me what you think. Leave a thought in the chat if you get a chance. I was somewhat surprised that they announced that the award was going to be presented to Harry like a month before the event. Didn't you think that was odd? I mean, I did. I guess my theory was I expected an award ceremony to operate like any other award ceremony, that everyone in the audience that could have been nominated would be nominated, but then you don't find out who's going to receive it until they get there, right? Like the opening of the envelope. And incidentally, they did exactly that for all the other recipients of awards from ESPN in the athletic category, right? I just thought that that was interesting. Now, it could be because I've not been paying attention to the ESPYs in the past, right? I am aware of the ESPYs, of course, whenever there's a sports award that's given to some champion. I'm aware of that. But I didn't follow why they made this announcement that they were going to deliver this award to Harry prior to the actual award ceremony. I thought that was unusual. But what do you all think? Do you all have any opinion? Like, did that seem odd to you? Oh, I'm just curious. Or was it just me? So, with that in mind, whenever anything is involving Harry and Meghan, I just keep this slide here for show, is that they always have to take steps to survive the oncoming smear campaign, because it is going to come, right? And in this case, the unusual behavior was reaching out to the family for whom this award is named to get their opinion about Prince Harry receiving this award. Again, another thing that was surprising to me, which, again, if you had not announced he was receiving it early, then you wouldn't have been able to jump out and know who to talk to about him receiving it. Again, I thought that was odd. But in true fashion of UK tabloid media, what did they do? Well, the henchmen, the usual suspects, jumped out and about to comb through as much information as they could to find an individual that would say something negative about Harry in relationship to getting this award. And boy, did they land on the jackpot. They ended up with Pat Tillman's mother. Now, here's what's even more fascinating about, let's do some background. And yes, we're going to get to how much the award was received and how beautiful everything was. But anyway, that's later. But let's go with the background. Here's the situation of Pat Tillman's demise. And I'm going to just go over it very lightly because there's so much involved. He's a wonderful star football player. He is recruited and to be a football player in the coveted NFL. That's not easy, right? Not in these United States. Very few people make that cut. He did. This is in, I think it's 2004. I gotta remember what year I'm in. This is what happens when you get older. Even though the events are significant, you forget when they happen. But oh, that's another thing in our politics, talking about forgetting things and getting older. But anyway, that's another side note. But anyway, Pat Tillman decided instead of continuing to play for the NFL, which is coveted, he decided this is right after, of course, 9/11. All right, I'll let you all look up the dates and times and all of these things. He decided, you know what? I'm going to be in the military. I'm going to join the military, stay an officer in the military. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and fight for my country. Now, I don't know about you, but there are very few people that I know that if they were given the choice of $1 million plus contract in the NFL or go serve your country in Iraq, in Kuwait, and be on the front lines in a war, very, very few people would choose be on the front line in a war. At least that is in my opinion, right? And FYI, I don't know if I mentioned this, I too have had military service. So I always throw that out there just so folks don't think, well, you're just saying things. Listen. So anyway, he decided he's going to serve time in the military, and he did. Now, here's the unfortunate circumstance. He's killed in action. So we thought, right? And he becomes this glowing hero and face of the franchise involving the war against Iraq. Oh my gosh, look at the sacrifice this young man made. He sacrificed his career in the NFL. He goes out here and he fights for his country. This is the commercial, the picture that is put up all over the world for everyone to see. This is what America is made of. Yes, true. But here's what happened. The circumstances behind his death during this time was more about him being killed by possible friendly fire. In other words, his death was actually caused by the military, the U.S. military itself. Now, this is where the drama begins. Because it was unclear, because this question was there, it wasn't as if he was um it wasn't as if there were stories told about him in hand-to-hand combat with an enemy combatant out in the sands of Iraq fighting for his life, and then he got killed. That was not the story. It was more about perhaps a mistake, some type of negligence, some type of issue in the military itself. And, I could do an entire podcast on how I feel the United States military and its ability to continue to train properly. Okay, I could go on with that for hours, but I won't do that. But anyway, this is the situation. He was killed, the circumstances were cloudy. All right, now enter his mother. She was very distraught. There's the loss of her son. There is the picture that she's been given of how her son died in this war, which she would now be a gold star mom. That's the term given to parents who have lost children in the service, especially during wartime. However, what she is told happened, how he died, the story around his death is all potentially either distorted from it would vary from as far as distorted all the way to you're just lying to me. And this poor woman, like many people who come up against the United States military, she has to spend an enormous amount of time and probably resources trying to find people to talk to her, answer her questions, give her the true story, She had to appear before Congress. I believe she was giving her testimony, her point of view. She had to dig out information. Oh my gosh. The road that this lady traveled to try to get the honest picture of what happened to her baby on the sands of Iraq. And what was happening? The typical bureaucracy of the world and or governments and or organizations and or people who are in institutions. She got stonewalled, blindsided, misdirected, and it took an enormous amount of effort, time, but finally much of the truth came out. So this is the mom that you're talking about, right? She's not happy about her son being killed in this battle. She's not at this, probably in her mindset, this is not an honor for her, right? The way they would like to frame it. You know what I mean? You're looking at someone who is probably mad from day one about anything that is associating her son with veterans, in a sense. And I'm just talking about in an emotional sense, right? Like, I don't think I would want to hear anything about my baby's service. I don't even want to have that conversation, right? But this is Miss Mary Tillman. So that's a picture of who this woman is, I think. And I think that's more of a valid perspective. Why? Because I'm a parent of adult children, right? Can you imagine? Don't try to imagine when you're a parent of adult children and you suffer that type of loss. Don't even try to imagine it. So then for someone to reach out to you and come to you with this, and I love to use the term slither up to you to get your opinion and your take on a casual prince getting an award in the name of your son, especially given that, I'm an American. I know very little about the royal family anyway. And what little I do know is the trash that you put out into the world via your tabloid sources. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just another spoiled prince getting an award in the name of my son. So her opinion was negative, right? And boy, did the UK tabloids feed on that nonsense. Oh my gosh, they fed on that. And then you have the surrogates that they probably pay and don't pay, that we call the lapping surrogates, the lapping peasants, that featured online Twitter spaces and anywhere else they thought they could be heard to chime in and bolster that opinion and getting these petitions started. So that is what is in the background of this ESPY award. So what does that do to the level of the award? What could that possibly have done to the award itself, right? Again, back to smear campaign. They purposely tried to soil and dirty up what is an award for a beautiful cause. But does the UK tabloid media care about any of that? Not at all. They only featured what it is they think their goal was. Probably selling what? A newspaper or getting a click. And that is all they would that is all they would gain. A click, a newspaper, maybe a couple of dollars, right? All at the cost of trying to dirty not just the name Pat Tillman, but the award from the ESPYs. And then to boot, drag the mother into a conflict as well. That is so filthy, in my opinion. Just that type of behavior, the fact that you, an adult person working in a professional setting, would step out and make that your mission is absolutely filthy. Just I can't even fathom the type of mind that would sit down and say to themselves, let me go out here and see what I can do. As the target is Harry, but in the fact that the target is Harry, let me go attack and set up everyone else. Take a moment and let's let that sink in. I need you to let that sink in. The sheer filth of it. Okay? I found some photos here while you're thinking and pondering on just the type of creature that would do that type of work. What type of person would do that type of work for a paycheck? While you're thinking about there, here are some photos on the left and right of Pat Tillman's Ranger Battalion. He's actually in this photo where his face is where the only one that doesn't have the blackout across his eyes. And then on the other one where the guys are sitting on the vehicle, I believe he's sitting there on the right side. But this is just these are just what I call fun photos. And it's the kind of thing that the military guys, when they're deployed, they're not supposed to be doing, right? But of course, they can't help but preserve the memories of their time in service and especially on deployments because it is such a interesting and weird experience. And of course, a comrade like Harry, I have in the middle. Why? Because that shows his connection to this type of lifestyle. He's been there, he understands this, right? And he's a veteran just like Pat Tillman served his country, probably not with the type of fervor that he wanted to as well. But instead of people supporting what this all stood for and featuring and highlighting the Invictus Games, which is also associated, these UK tabloid media personalities brought out their bag of trash in an effort simply to target Harry. Their mission in life is to destroy Harry. But you see, they have taken up the mantle of no matter what the cost. And it's interesting because slowly, like peeling the skin off of an onion, many people in the rest of the world are beginning to see how dangerous and vicious what the UK tabloid media plus royal firm have set in motion. That they have, in fact, placed in motion a machine that is destroying at all cost. And people are beginning to see it. It's slow, but you know what? It's slow, but it's happening. And I'm going to tell you all, I'm going to continue to stand here and wait for it because I believe it's going to be more to come. So, what we had is a wonderful accolade. I like the fact that those who participated in the Invictus Games, and these were alumni in the Invictus Games, were the ones that were called forward to present this award to Harry on behalf of the Invictus Games. And who is a better face of the Invictus Games than Harry himself? No one. And of course, what is the UK tabloid media plus royal firm trying to insinuate? That there are all these other people that we're supposed to be looking at that are in and around and involved with the Invictus Games. Truly, it is a huge team. But these people have gladly and very wisely made sure that Prince Harry remain the face of this franchise. Can that be turned over at some point? Absolutely. Can someone else take on that mantle? Of course. But the support and the push that the Invictus game gets is largely because the celebrity and the face of Prince Harry is at the forefront. Am I right? Of course I am. Now, this foundation, Pat Tillman Foundation, by the way, is also responsible for doing things like giving honors and scholarships, and they specifically target families who are the remaining families of veterans who may have lost their lives. And there is nothing that I can think of that is more worthy of these wonderful types of support. People who would like to donate, give to this cause, you are more than welcome, right? That foundation has a lovely website, but I am in and around the military at all costs, and there are a number of foundations that are what I call less than performative. In other words, they're not in it for the performance or how it can benefit them. Because be advised, a lot of these charities and foundations that exist are often created so that there can be a benefit to those who created it. But often that is the case. But I must say that in these particular circumstances, it would appear that the good of what they do, Invictus Games, Pat Tillman, and these type of organizations. Oh yeah, the other one on our that you see a lot of is called the I think it's the McDonald House is one, and there's also another feature where they help people stay in hospitals and they help the families have a place to stay when they are with their soldier or service member recovering. So these are great charities. And I encourage people who are interested in looking into these charities and supporting them in any way that they can, please do so. I am a supporter kind of automatically, right? I'm an automatic supporter of some of these military ventures. But it is fantastic and it is phenomenal. And if it hadn't been for that, then there was no need to smear this particular accolade, right? And in these folks who were presenting the awards, I want you to know, I know everybody, I'm sure every super squatty around watched that particular presentation. And of course, like Invictus, and as we can always be promised with Invictus, when they do a feature, you are probably going to be in tears by about the end of it. Okay. So be careful when you're watching the stories behind these three folks who are presenting these, because you must know this. All right. And by the way, their names are Mr. Israel Del Toro. And as you can see, he was severely burned. And then there is, I believe her name is Christy Ennis, if I'm saying it right, and Ellie Marks. And you notice that I think it's Christy that has the prosthesis, which is excellent, right? But they're working hard in their adaptive sport. But think about that, folks. All right. And well, I know I've been on a ramble and a rant. But while I'm saying that, also, let's take a quick moment again, folks. Let's take a short moment. Please hit the like button. Why not? And like, share, and subscribe. I like to do that. I feel like I sound like a commercial. Do you think I sound like a commercial? Okay, so I'm going to say good morning to some folks out here. I'm going to say, let's see who's here. Okay, well, King for Concept said they were on the bike, but stationary bike, Peloton. I know those are fantastic too, and they're really great if you're trying to get your thighs working out. It's an excellent thing. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate your commenting here at King for Success. And please stay and come back all the time. I love to have you all here. So who else is here today? We also have, good morning. Hello, all for success from Raffaella Bertoni. Super Squatties in the house. Yay. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, it is a happy Saturday so far. And let's hope it stays that way. We're going to definitely try to keep it a happy Saturday. So who else is hiding here in the corners? Joyce Anderson, Super Squatties again in the house. Thank you so much. Good Saturday morning to everyone. And the SBO Awards were, yes, fire. Yes, they were. It was on fire. I was panicking because I thought, oh God, not another awards ceremony. And then I'm going to come away angry at everything I see, and what am I referring to? I think I mentioned it before. The BET Awards, folks, that was an absolute letdown for me. But again, I have to give the caveat. Maybe it's my age, okay? But yikes. All right. But yes, the ESPY Awards, it was fairly well done. I thought fairly well done, mostly elegant, but for men who are in sport, men and women in sports, right? It was very upbeat. I like that. Joyce Anderson, she says, they announced it for publicity. You know, okay. I see what you mean. That announcement plus, well, do you think they intentionally thought that there was going to be some negative feedback, which would feed this fire? Or do you think that it just actually happened that way, sort of, I want to say generically or by accident? What do you think? Oh, good morning also to Lindsay Lifestyle. Thank you. They say good evening to everyone. Uh-oh, that means I wonder what side of the world you're on. Great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us here at All for Success. And I hope you, if you're on the other side of the world, that you're going to be able to stay up and join in as often as possible. I'm wonderful. It's wonderful. R. Carter, thank you. Good morning and thank you for being here. You know what, guys? Don't get mad at me. I also have to answer messages sometimes that I get in the chat after I do this chat live. Sometimes I forget to go back and read up all of my comments and answer them. So R. Carter is saying that the number of lives lost because of the relentless attacks by the VM. Oh, you know what? Thank you for saying that. I believe that someone needs to take an account and actually do a survey of sorts. When I think of, listen, I cannot wait. Oh, that's another thing. He's going to have another documentary that's going to come up, or an interview where they're going to talk about phone hacking. So that's coming up, but we got a little bit of time before we talk about that a lot. But just the phone situation alone, the UK tabloid press alone. Do you realize how many suicides are associated with stories that they were about to leak? This is, when they do a tally, and this is another interesting little tidbit. In at least, I'm going to say 2 or 3 cases, the people who committed suicide also were people who had either met or interacted with Harry as well. So Harry is extremely angry with this British media nonsense of creeping around, following people around, showing up and putting their business out in the streets and threatening them. And then these people, in many cases, they may have also had drug issues, or they may have also been depressed, or they may have also been fighting some other type of situation. And these folks committed suicide. Now, I've done previous chats about several figures. Caroline Flack is one of the most prominent, right? Amy Winehouse. People find out after they have passed. Oh, well, yeah, they were also being, threatened by the UK media. Can you believe that? It's crazy. Absolutely. And great. And thank you for being here. R. Carter, thank you so much. Joyce Anderson also says, I'm going to rewatch the podcast. You know what? You can, but I'm going to tell you, it's a tearjerker, and you know that it's going to just tear you to pieces. You can't help yourself. And she said this was the best way. I don't doubt it. Now, if they plan this, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. You know, it's very possible. Also, it's really possible that that could be the case. And I would like to also welcome Connie Palmer. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, Super Squatty's in the house. Thank you for being here. And she's saying hello to everybody in the chat. She's telling everybody hi. Thank you so much. And I appreciate, you know what, guys, this channel is slow to grow because I'm slow in operations and I'm learning as I go. But I tell you what, I appreciate you all's support more than you will ever know. I never thought, well, even though I always wanted to do this, I didn't really know how. But I want to tell you, I'm so glad that you support the channel. It's blinding to me. It just blows my mind. It's just too much fun. I love it. Thank you all for being here. So now back to the nonsense. But yeah, um, I'm liking what you're saying. I'm liking where your thoughts are going. Okay, so publicity perhaps is why they announced early. Oddly, you might be right. Although I can see that. I can see that. But I just thought it was strange, you know? It's kind of like saying, hey, we're gonna tell you who's about to win the Emmy, and announce the names before we have the show. But okay, I could see that by saying Prince Harry is gonna be at these ESPYs. Well, that definitely brought eyeballs. Curiosity, at the very least. And then, of course, those who are on the satellite issues, what were their concerns? Is Megan coming? Is Megan gonna be there? Is Megan gonna be with him? Yeah, they couldn't help themselves. Now, here's another thing I saw. Um, in this picture, I have pictured here. I just want you to know. I'll go across the bottom. This is Maria, I believe Maria Tillman, when she was married to Pat Tillman. This is when he was still with us. And then, of course, I have in the middle Harry, who is with Maria Tillman. And he is also with a previous ESPY award winner in the Pat Tillman Award. And his name is Jake Wood. Okay. And then at the top there, I have Pat Tillman's mom. Okay. And this is when I believe this photo is from when she was actually either testifying or bringing her information up to Capitol Hill. And, that was it was intense. But these photos here are kind of where we came from as they were about to present these awards. Now, Jake Wood, by the way, actually did appear on TMZ. I don't know if he called TMZ or if TMZ went to find him, because I know that after this issue with the mom, I believe, I don't know if it was an instruction to the media. I don't know if someone made a phone call, but it became very clear that after that statement that she made that was printed about Harry being controversial and all of this, no one else heard anything from Miss Mary Tillman. There wasn't a mention of her anywhere being interviewed or anyone making a comment about what she said after that. It was almost as if they instilled a total media blackout around her, placed her in a bubble, and no one was supposed to touch or talk about it. That is my theory. But, you tell me. At least I didn't see anything else, and I was looking. But Jake Wood, however, the former Pat Tillman Award recipient, he was on TMZ. And TMZ, my opinion of them is, I think they're somewhat shady. Okay. I don't look at TMZ as a news outlet because it too is tabloid, right? But in the United States, from the United States perspective, even as a tabloid, the way that they operate, they generally don't reach out and create reasons to have people destroyed. And at least from their perspective, they just simply get the information, and when they get the information, they put it out there, kind of thing. They're not so much digging in your trash can for it. But okay, that's my thought process with TMZ. When he appeared, he was very clear that he felt Harry was a perfect choice. And when he talked about his background actually paralleled Harry's. They both had worked in Haiti. They both were veterans. They both had foundations that did things to help and support veterans. And so Jake Wood was very clear. Harry was a perfect choice. That ESPN couldn't, that Pat Tillman, the award foundation, couldn't have made a better choice. And that too also began to squeeze and quiet some of the naysayers, even though they continued to have this petition rolling. But you see, this group of naysayers, they continued to bring this stuff up to the forefront and throw trash all over this situation with Pat Tillman without understanding that they were smearing and belittling the award, because they kept saying that the award would be reduced because Harry would receive it. And this is the type of thing that silly people and these trash and villainous type of mindsets, they do not understand how damaging their nonsense might be. But yet they're going to continue to do it. They're not going to stop. So here's the thing. Awards have meaning, right? But they're not just blind meanings. Giving someone an award, like even a medal or a medallion because they did a great thing in a great race or some type of competition, an award has a meaning. It is to let that person know we are recognizing you for the work that you do, right? And that is why Harry, although he is receiving that award, what does Harry spend most of his time doing, people? He spends most of his time giving awards. Correct? But you see, again, this is the blindness of the people who are trying to do everything they can do to destroy Harry. And what is the purpose of their destruction? They have no reason to be wanting to destroy Harry except that the royal firm put that mission statement forward. Go destroy Harry. Why? Because Harry is going to expose us for the uselessness that we are. And so Harry is an absolute target and they want him eradicated. They're not kidding. Just in the line of Princess Diana, they want to remove him from the mind of the world. It didn't work with Princess Diana. It only made her larger than life. And I don't understand why they believe it will work with Prince Harry. But if they can't get to Prince Harry, then they're going to attack through his wife, right? If we can't get Harry, we're going to try our best. We're going to destroy Meghan then. We're going to try our best to tear everything down that she does. If she tries to step forward, we're going to be there to smack her to the side because we have to destroy them. And of course, I understand their fear. They are about to become irrelevant, and the entire world can see it. Why are you irrelevant? Because you're not doing anything, right? So their attempt to do the same thing, they want to make sure they constantly give that Harry is just bad. And it's because they have no sense of purpose. They're always looking for outside validation themselves. The royal firm is in trouble, and they're constantly begging the United States and people in the United States to give them a lift in popularity. And why? Because their entire foundation is built on nothing but abuse, and they train in their entire mission to expect abuse, to dole it out and expect abuse. All right, now on the upside, folks, of my rant, this is how beautiful they looked sitting there on the front row of the ESPYs. It was just elegant. Everyone was just in awe and inspired. Meghan is beautiful. She can't help herself. Even if she didn't look like she looks, she'd still be beautiful, right? But on top of her looking like she looks, she's just beautiful. And I hope she maintains that inner glow. I'm telling you, for folks who are praying for her, for the folks who are praying for the family, right? And just simply praying in general. I am hoping that these prayers continue to hold them up and they relax, they stay relaxed, and they continue to love. As with Harry, he is definitely there to overcome challenges because this man is driven and I love it. And I hope that he maintains his energy because it is obvious that he is driven. And as you guys know, what is the modern saying people say? You picked the wrong one. All right, all right. So I told you guys, oh no, actually, I didn't promise not to keep you too long today, but I would try not to keep you too long today. But here's what I do. I always throw out a scripture that I think things that can help to support all of us who are thinking about, praying about, and in support of people who are doing good work, right? Here's something I want you to think about. And I always begin by saying, no, folks, calm down. I am not trying to recruit you to any type of cult like project. Okay. But I want to have fun with the scriptures because I find them interesting in how sometimes they support something thoughtful that might be going on in our world. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to direct you guys to Luke chapter 20. And in chapter 20, you can kind of cruise down to verses 40. For those of you who are Bible scholars, you might understand what was happening in this chapter. And this is where Jesus is sitting there in the temple and he's giving people lectures and lessons and he's talking and teaching. People are asking questions and he's answering them. Well, because he wasn't adorned as a leader, he wasn't, let's say in relation to what we're talking about, he wasn't the actual heir, right? Or he wasn't donned as the king and the teacher. The surrounding professionals are kind of upset because as far as they're concerned, we're like, who is this man sitting up here telling people and giving advice? All right. So that's the background of the chapter. I encourage all of you to read if you're interested. Remember, okay, I only refer to the Bible because it's where I come from. So listen, here's what's happening. That's what's going on. People are talking, he's teaching and whatnot and whatnot. And then this chapter wants to give you something to think about. So I'm going to just read a couple of things. They were going on and on about who is actually the son, whose son is the Messiah. They're always asking that. It's like, think about it. Whose son is actually the heir to the throne? All right. Well, all right, let's go back to that. So this conversation is going up and there's a little bit of a discussion. And so what is said is that they refer to what was said in the book of Psalms. And so they're saying that the Lord said that to my Lord, that he sits at my right hand. And what he's saying is that he put this person at his right hand and he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make all of your enemies a footstool for your feet. In other words, everybody who is coming after you and giving you all kind of drama and trauma, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put them under your feet. You can prop your feet up on top of them. All right. So I like this type of sentiment because I need you all to stay encouraged, right? Because David then called him Lord. He said, how then can he be his son? But anyway, there's a conflict going on. But the point was that everyone that was questioning it, he said, these enemies of yours, I'm going to put them underneath your feet. You're going to be able to rest your feet on these people. Okay. So keep that in mind when we are talking about how Prince Harry has to overcome. Enemies will eventually become his footstool. And just like in this case, this hoo-ha and brouhaha that came up because of these folks being in conflict actually brought more eyes, like you all are stating, it brought more eyes and attention to the awards themselves. Now, here's the fun part. Did you all see wonderful um, Serena, as she was dressed up and decked out and doing all of the wonderful hosting? She did a fabulous job. It was fun watching her sing with, I think it was Jamie Foxx, or it looked like Jamie Foxx, and they were singing this song. Singing career for her, that she's not in danger of that. No, not by any means, but it was fun to watch. And she looked beautiful, and so does her family. They are gorgeous. And so as we continue on with that chapter in Luke, what is it that they're telling us? This is great. You all will love this. Just keep reading in that chapter from 40. Just start at 40 and go all the way down. It is going to continue to tell this story that while all the people were listening, and he said to the disciples, you need to beware of these scribes who are walking around in what does this remind you of, folks? They're walking around in long robes. They love people to give them respectful greetings in the marketplace. They always want the chief seats, right? In the synagogue, they always want to be in the place of honor. Yeah, that's right. But what do? They devour widows' houses for the appearance sake, and then they offer long prayers. You know what? This describes people to a T. These folks are walking around trying to be all of these wonderful things. They want accolades and they're walking around in long robes, but you know what they're going to receive at the end? What does it say? They are going to receive greater condemnation. Just keep that in mind because this description is important. Keep that in mind because that's the kind of mess Prince Harry is always going to be dealing with. And I am here to stand behind and give my support, folks. You know what you did here? You guys stuck with me. I appreciate you all being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. And you made it to the end. So listen, for the fashionistas, what does my girl look like in this wonderful long white dress? Oh my goodness. She is spot on and beautiful as always, and nothing is out of place. Guys, now she does like to always show her shoulders, and I guess that's because she's very fit. She is so beautiful. But listen, stay focused, stay positive, and you know what? Just keep winning, folks. And thank you guys again for being with me here at All for Success. And enjoy your day. Get out there and get your errands done. See you soon.